A single shard of broken porcelain lay on the floor where my scholarship rejection letter had been moments before. The jagged piece was all that remained of the vase my stepmother, Eleanor, had hurled at my head. Her perfect, porcelain complexion was now mottled with rage in the reflection of the hall mirror. Behind her, my father, David, stared at his own feet, his shoulders slumped in familiar defeat. "Stanford!" Eleanor sneered, grinding the paper under her heel. "You thought you could just leave? This family needs you. I need you." The words were a gilded cage, but the meaning was always the same. You belong to me. The sting on my cheek from her slap was fading, but it was the envelope I'd seen in my father's study last week that burned in my mind. Life insurance policy. Lillian March. My mother's name. A policy I was never meant to see. My name is Elena. I'm 19, and today, I stop being their prisoner and become their warden. This is the story of how I used their own secrets to shatter the perfect image they worked so hard to build. For 2 years, I'd been their unpaid caretaker, their live-in servant after Eleanor's mysterious, chronic fatigue began. But I'd also been their archivist. I'd saved the videos of her lifting heavy boxes when she thought no one was looking, the audio recordings of her perfectly healthy voice-planning shopping trips with her friends, the photos of the expensive jewelry she bought with money she claimed was for medical bills. It was all stored securely online, a digital axe hanging over the gilded frame of our family portrait. "You're so clumsy," my father murmured, not meeting my eyes as I knelt to pick up the shards. "Always causing a mess. If you'd just been more careful, your mother wouldn't get so upset." The familiar excuse, designed to make me the author of my own misery. I knew the truth. My mother hadn't died from a sudden illness, as he'd claimed. The coroner's report I'd secretly requested stated clearly, acute poisoning from improperly mixed prescription medication. Medication Eleanor, a former pharmacist, had access to. "Where will you go?" Eleanor's voice was suddenly sweet, a venomous drip. "You have no money, no skills except disappointing us. You'll be back by dinner, begging." I thought of the key in my pocket, left for me by my aunt, my mother's sister. The key to a safety deposit box whose contents had been described in a letter that simply read, "When you're ready to know the truth about your mother, come find me." "I'll manage," I said softly, my hand closing around the cold metal in my pocket. My father finally looked up, his eyes hollow. "Elena, don't do this. We're your family." "No," I said, walking towards the front door for the last time. "You're the people I was born to. There's a difference." The door clicked shut behind me, the sound a lock turning on a past life. The city air, thick with exhaust and freedom, filled my lungs. I didn't look back. The law firm of Sterling and Gray was all dark wood and hushed tones. I sat in a leather chair, still wearing the clothes I'd fled in, clutching my aunt's letter. "Miss March," a woman with sharp eyes and a gentle smile said as she entered. "I'm Alicia Gray. Your mother, Lillian, and your aunt, Clara, were dear friends." She slid a file across the desk. "Your mother was a very successful software developer. She didn't just have a life insurance policy, she owned patents. Patents your father and stepmother have been collecting royalties on for years. The trust she left for you is valued at $12 million. The number didn't feel real. It felt like ammunition. "There's more," Ms. Gray continued, her voice lowering. "Your aunt was suspicious. She had your mother's medical files re-examined. The dosage error that killed her wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate. We have a sworn statement from a nurse who was pressured to stay quiet." The world narrowed to a single cold point. It wasn't just about money. It was murder. "The evidence is compelling, but not a guaranteed conviction," she said. "Your father can claim ignorance. Eleanor can claim a tragic error. So, you have a choice. We can pursue criminal charges, or we can offer them a different kind of justice." "What kind?" My voice was a whisper. "We expose the financial fraud. We sue for the return of every cent of your inheritance, plus damages. We make it publicly known that Eleanor is under investigation for negligent homicide. We destroy the perfect life they built on your mother's grave. They'll be left with nothing but each other and the truth. I thought of my aunt's final words to me: the truth doesn't always need a prison cell to be a punishment. Do it, I said. Take it all. And make sure everyone knows why. The meeting happened in a neutral office. My father and Eleanor arrived, expecting a discussion about my reckless behavior. Their faces paled when they saw me and Ms. Gray. The evidence was laid bare. Bank statements, patent royalties, the nurse's affidavit. I watched the facade of the happy family crack and crumble. You can't prove anything, Eleanor shrieked. We can prove enough, I said, my voice steady as I met my father's horrified gaze. Enough to take every penny. Enough to make your name synonymous with scandal. You can fight this publicly and let a jury decide if Eleanor is a murderer or just criminally careless. Or you can sign over everything, admit to the financial fraud, and live with the private ghost of what you've done. They signed. The money, the house, the cars, it all reverted to me. They moved into a rented room on the other side of town, their names quietly removed from the country club roster, their friends suddenly unavailable. I used the money to start a foundation in my mother's name, helping children who've lost parents and are trapped in toxic homes. My father wrote me a letter a year later. He was working as a bookkeeper. Eleanor had left him. He said he was sorry. He said he lives with the truth every day. I never wrote back. The best revenge against people who tried to erase you isn't to destroy them in return. It's to build a legacy so bright that the shadow of who they were vanishes completely in its light. It's to live a life so full of truth that their lies become irrelevant, forgotten whispers in the wind.